Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. Our conversation is based on fraudulent court orders. And I just want to say, does that actually happen before we go into the explanation?
Well, yeah, I guess like any other item that we have, both in the private and the public sphere, we have both the proper documents as well as the fake documents.
Okay.
So, yeah, it does happen.
All right. Now, explain to us, how do we then determine whether or not these are proper documents or fake documents? Is there anything in particular that we need to look out for? How do we identify it?
Yeah, there is items to look out for. However, maybe let's try and get the listeners to understand what is it that we're even talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we mentioned in the other previous sessions type of cases that may be held in the Superior Court.
Mm-hmm.
At that stage, as you file your documents, we have what you call combined summons, with which comes particulars of claim. In your particulars of claim, you're going to state as to what your prayers are, meaning what you want the court to decide on and what sort of judgment are you looking for.
Okay.
And with that, should your case be legally sufficient and the judge agrees with you, then they issue an order, which becomes an order of court, meaning that which you had asked for is now legally confirmed as an order that is granted on your behalf for your benefit and against the other person that you were claiming.
Yes.
The same order, as given by the court, is then issued by the office of the registrar. Meaning from the order, the court order document, you're going to have at the top the description of the court. We call it the citation, the parties, the applicant, the defendant, and the date, the judge. From there, you have the court order with what the court has given as a decision. And at the top, at the bottom, you will then see a registrar portion where it will have a signature of the registrar and a court order date stamp affixed on the same document.
Okay.
So now back to your question as to how do we see. Like I said, you are going to have in the document at the top a Chief Justice logo, meaning this office's logo, following by the description of this court. For an example, in the High Court of South Africa, Gauteng Division, Johannesburg, a date, the name of the judge, and the classification of the parties, and the order itself. Now, with the date stamp that will be affixed, the department has tried over time to better our stamps to make them look different from what you may find in the street.
Okay.
They're a bit bigger in size, and they bear two emblems belonging to the Office of the Judiciary, with the names the Judiciary, the Republic of South Africa, and a description of the court, like I said earlier. Basically, maybe let me look at one here. It says Registrar of the High Court of South Africa, Gauteng Local Division, Private Back X7, Johannesburg 2000. Then the emblem that I spoke of with the date in between, meaning the date on which the order was signed by the registrar.
Okay.
December 6th. And you're going to have something like JGLD Johannesburg with a number. That number is allocated specifically to a certain registrar, meaning that stamp belongs to a specific registrar.
Okay.
Meaning if you come across an order with such a stamp and you are not comfortable with its content, you are not entirely satisfied, you think maybe it might be fraudulent, you may then know exactly, or rather the office will know that no, we do not have this number in this court, or rather all our stamp orders with this number means were signed by so and so.
Okay. All right, so that is what we need to look out for. Now, for me, I just think that it's horrible that in this time in our lives that we still have to be worried about fraudulent court orders. What would be the instances where you would find those court orders, or would it be a case of it happening across the board when it comes to your court in particular?
Yeah, it comes across, but you can narrow it down in terms of questions of law that may end up having people tempted to originate their own fake documents.
Okay.
For an example, in the past, we had issues relating to eviction application, wherein people are originating fake orders and evicting people from their homes, and as well in terms of criminal cases, orders relating to successful appeals. So remember when we spoke about how some of the matters originate from the magistrate court up to the superior court?
Yes.
Say a person was convicted by a magistrate in the Boys and Magistrate Court and given maybe a sentence of 25 years.
Yes.
And they appeal that with this court. They may, as we read the case in the past, end up originating their own fake order, saying that their appeal was successful when it was actually not.
Yes.
Remember, a successful appeal may lead to a situation where you are ordered to release the inmate from prison. So it was on those bases that those orders were identified or were made by whoever that had made them. Basically saying the appeal application was successful in the Gauteng Division, and the judge has ordered that the accused person, the convicted individual, be released from prison with immediate effect.
Okay.
So yeah, it does happen across the board, but you can pin it down to specific areas of interest. I will assume based on what people want in the public.
Okay, so it's readily available. What are we looking at with regards to a conviction on fraudulent court orders?
It's all determined by, it falls on the fraud. It's actually fraud. Because what we do, should you come in and say, after this order, I want to verify if it's legit or not.
Yes.
Through the Office of the Chief Registrar, we'll go to our instruments, and in the primary, your case number is going to specify or direct us as to where we must look. And when we look and we find that, nope, we have not had such a document issued since the inception of the matter with this court, we'll immediately, as a court, refer the matter to the SAPS for investigation.
Okay.
And with that investigation, it's going to be classified as fraud. And should you be found to have committed that fraud as that individual, based on the investigation that the SAPS will undertake, the sentence is related to that fraudulent matters fall under.
Okay. So it is, of course, so there's no one that's going to, it's fraud, and based on the circumstances, it will be handled within the court, and the necessary processes will then be followed.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on, Mlungisi, that we need to cover before we let you go?
Not specifically.
Well, like I said to Lysanda, if there are any questions that do come through, we, of course, are able to unpack this one a little later. But if we do get any messages, we will let you guys know. And then, of course, when we speak to you again in 2 weeks' time, then we will then hopefully, if not unpack this, carry on with another area. So thank you so much for your time.